I'm Josh.
I'm Serafina.
Welcome to Pan Poly Plus.
You may be looking at us and thinking, you seem like the same age, the same race, the same religious background, and possibly the same social status. So you don't have much coming out to do. And you will be right! But not because we are so abundantly conventional, although that does help.
We both benefit from having families who've accepted our sexualities and polyamory, even though nobody in our families is anything other than cis female or cis male, coupled to the same age, same religion, same race, same social status. Even our least liberal relatives have accepted us just as we are.
Just about.
It's important to note that the majority of unconventional relationships are not accepted by family and friends, particularly within religious communities. This can leave people having to choose between different types of love and acceptance, often leading to a lack of discussion, which, as you may have seen from our last video, is not our jam.
Today we are talking about our coming out stories.
We both benefit from families that accept LGBTQ plus relationships.
In fact, my dad and stepmom made it very clear from a very early age that it was totally fine if I was a lesbian. However, polyamory just didn't seem to come up.
Anything outside of monogamy had not been considered.
It wasn't something we'd even heard about. But today we're talking about pansexuality.
By the time we'd both met, we'd both dated and been sexually active with men and women.
Sometimes at the same time.
But neither of us had been with anyone non-binary.
In my first year of university, I had a fleeting crush on a non-binary person, but that was swept away by a crush on a cis woman and then a relationship with a cis man, and then I met Josh. But at no stage did I consider myself anything but bisexual. I actually told Josh when we first met that I was bisexual because I had different ideas of what I wanted out of relationships according to male and female gender. Fortunately, my little theory was proven erroneous 3 years later by an amazing American woman. And then in 2019, I was asked to join a throuple with a trans woman, which then washed away the last of my prejudices over my own sexuality.
Both of us had agreed that gender shouldn't be a consideration when we're choosing partners, but it can be hard to nail down what's generally true about your sexuality and sexual identity when you're reflecting on specific relationships with individuals. You might go your entire life thinking that you only fancy one gender.
Or two genders.
And then meet someone incredible and have that completely disproven. I actually identified with pansexuality as soon as I heard about it, but I wasn't open about it with my family and friends. I didn't even come out to my family until last year, 2019. I had held back because I'd only had fleeting romances with men and women, and then I met Serafina and it was just assumed by everybody that we were a heterosexual couple. My family don't really talk openly about sex at all, so I'd never really had to discuss my sexuality at home.
Even though my parents were very liberal about whoever I eventually chose to be with, they were not happy when they found out how early I'd become sexually active, and their reactions to that sealed my lips on the subject for many years. In the end, it was quite obvious that I was still sexually active in my late teens, and so they eventually offered a sort of silent acceptance, but it's still not something that we talk about. They still don't want to hear about my sexual exploits, but I don't find that strange. Because, quite frankly, that is exactly the way I feel about their sexual exploits. Seriously, Dad, I reciprocate. I reciprocate. Close the frickin' door when you're doing it, okay? I don't think anyone wants to hear their parents having sex.
Discussion around sex can be yucky and difficult sometimes.
Gender can often play a role in how your parents react to finding out that you're sexually active. And daughters can often find it more constricting and more difficult to talk to their families openly because there's this idea that they need to be protected. Sexual health is an incredibly important thing, and we have to talk about the issues that we face and our experiences. Even the most liberal and accepting families can have a real struggle trying to tackle the subject.
Even though we both have families that accepted us openly as pansexual people, we still found it tricky to bring up the subject. Hopefully in future, discussing your sexuality won't be so difficult.